doing?
Yeah, everything's peaceful. No worries.
Yeah. I sent you a little voice note this one. I don't know if you got it, if you pick it up.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So just elaborate. I'm saying, this strong on the radio station. I'm gonna be doing a little special audio tomorrow, but just to bring it into next strong, because as I'm saying, everybody's gonna get used to your vibration. So they'll be talking about ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of interested if you could give me, some knowledge about our Moors ancestors. That's been, the struggle with our people, and trying to highlight some of them. We know got the great Noble Joe Ali, but we could bring him in also. And I was looking at a document I'm going to get in this track, and I'm seeing, I think it's the Moorish, but I'm seeing a document that's got Marcus Garvey in there as an L. Have you ever seen it? Marcus Garvey and with L beside his name?
No, somebody made that up. That ain't real.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get this track on, and then we get into the show. Right up to each and every one. Another Q&A, more or less. We're talking about the color of law. Is there a color of law? So let's get this Iron Cheek on. This one is called You Must Change. Brothers kill brothers, sisters missing each other. Children hate, split siblings now missing each other. From secret societies, you remove all the covers. Abused for some choose to be ID by color. Negro is black, or claim a fiction on the map. Thought power is listed on the idol god crap. Useless solutions, following illusions. We are all world wars, but we're scared of new ones. Some suffer stupid and being. But I'm seeing a document that's got Marcus Garvey there as an L. Have you ever seen Marcus Garvey and with L beside his name?
No, somebody made that.
Rise up. So that was Iron Cheek featuring Cardam. Think must change, alright? Thinking must change. It's all about, that's what we are doing here, each and every strong. Trying to change the mindset and the thinking of our people, because most of the problem that we are surrounded with is just the way we think. And if we just state our thinking for just 24 hours, our whole reality will be so different. So peace and love. Shout out to everyone who's here on the Stereo Street supporting Rise Up. Rise up to Vinci Bear, rise up to T Marshall, rise up to Empress McKillen, beautiful Empress, dropping some gems. So peace and love, brother Kudjo.
Peace.
Yes, my brother. I was saying, this is the parents and ancestors. I'm strong, I was saying. So in the UK, so I would just want to share with the Stereo Streets and everyone locked in, and they're playing the recording going forward, a little bit more depth into the Moor ancestors. We really want to rise up some more ancestors so we can bring that knowledge, know what I mean, to the people. Because a lot of ancestors was being highlighted, and these ancestors are ancestors. Not to say disrespectful to them, that's led me down the path that we're on right now. So I want to use this moment and this time to rise up those ancestors that were guiding us in the right way. And most of us didn't listen to them, but at least we can highlight them. Give thanks, peace, and love to you, brother.
Peace. Well, I mean, I would say this, that if they got melanin, they're a Moorish ancestor. So whoever we acknowledge as the Moorish ancestors, as the black ancestors, as the African ancestors, as whatever we call them in our dumb state of mind, those are Moors. So whoever you bring up, if they got melanin, that's a Moorish ancestor.
Right.
So there ain't nothing to go through, no list of L's and B's or whatever to say that those are Moorish ancestors.
Right.
Once they got melanin, they're a Moorish ancestor.
What I would like to highlight that ancestor I think made a move, which that's why I asked you about Marcus Garvey, because I know our great Malik El Shabazz came into the knowledge. He moved from Malcolm X to Malik El Shabazz. So I really shine some light on those type of ancestors, because for him to have gained that knowledge, that says something of what he came to revelation with when he was here with us. So I'm kind of interested in ancestors like that's kind of around that type of thinking. With that have done and actually declared themselves as Moor, and they've taken that name, and it wasn't with our people. I know, speaking theoretically, everyone that's melanin and you're born with a name string, they are Moors, but they didn't really acknowledge themselves as that. So I'm more interested in those ones that has done that. I don't know if you could shed some light on that still, but I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to look at the the programming that has been perpetrated against our people, knowing about who our ancestors were. If you're talking about individuals who have L or B or Moorish titles, just look up those titles. Look up the B's. You know what I mean? Look up the L's. Look up the Days. Look up the Ali's. And anybody with those names in the past, those are the people. I'm not gonna say that there aren't pertinent ones. Like one that stands out more than anybody is Deuce Muhammad Ali, because everybody from Europe to Canada to U.S. know about him, but they don't talk about him. They don't bring him up.
First I'm hearing about him. So say that again, Deuce
Muhammad Ali.
First I'm hearing
D-U-S-E Muhammad Ali. And he was around Marcus Garvey, he was around Drew Ali, like physically around them in their presence. You know what I mean? And they don't talk about him. So if anybody from the Renaissance time, the 1900s to 1930s, 40s, that we're gonna say, oh, ancestor, and bring them up, I would say him before anybody.
Right.
Do your research on Deuce Muhammad Ali, especially out there, because he was big time out there. He wasn't some nobody out there. And then the other part of it is, if you go research him out there and you don't find anything on him out there, that again should let you know how they're suppressing the history of the Moors. Because he was a Moor. He's Deuce Muhammad Ali. He was a Moor. Out the womb. Wore a fez all the time. No picture are you going to see of him without a fez on.
Was he domiciled in the Americas?
No, he's domiciled out there.
In the UK?
Yeah. London.
In the UK, okay.
London.
Wow. Right. Interesting, brother, interesting.
He's from the Sudan. He's from the Sudan, but he was a playwright. So he made his name writing plays and stuff like that, and bringing to light the um, bringing to light the consciousness of
Okay.
our people not being slaves and our people not being dumb niggers, and that we were big time. This is before even Drew Ali's time, because he had his playwright and stuff like that, or his plays and stuff going on, 1920s, um, and um, it wasn't just merely that, because he also had a newspaper called the African Times and Orient Review, and
Yes.
because of the African Times and Orient Review, that's what inspired Marcus Garvey.
Right.
Like, that's directly what inspired Marcus Garvey. So when we say um, the when we say Marcus Garvey's name and we start talking about Negro improvement and all that stuff, that's later.
Right.
Marcus Garvey was a writer for um, Marcus
Newspaper
Garvey was
article,
a was
basically.
a,
Yeah.
write, a writer for Deuce Muhammad Ali's paper before he was even Marcus Garvey, that we see today, that they like to push on us, like, oh yeah, Garvey, and then they start talking about his newspaper or whatever, without even mentioning without even mentioning that Deuce Muhammad Ali was his teacher. The same way that they talk about um, Bobby Hemmett, and they talk about all this metaphysical stuff, but they never talk about his teacher was C. Freemanel,
Hmm.
and that he sat at the feet of C. Freemanel. They just talk about the Bobby Hemmett metaphysics and all that, but they don't mention C. Freemanel at all, which does a disservice to really who Bobby Hemmett is. It does a disservice to really who Marcus Garvey is by not mentioning his master teacher or his inspiration, Deuce Muhammad Ali.
My brother, this one thing I realized, even being this platform, yeah, a lot of our people would take, I wouldn't say it's organized because it's for all of us, but the concept of the Moors, like you brought that, the presentation last time, you're saying there's some greats and they use Moor literature, they don't use their own.
Mm.
But you got people put down the Moors, but they will use the so-called, what them call Moor literatures and get you certain things, but at the same time, they don't have no respect or honor to the people that set it for them to have this information. I've seen that a lot now, you know what I mean? That's what he's saying. But it's funny, like, I'm glad you bring this brother up. Definitely be probably looking at Deuce Muhammad Ali, to look into, his background and bring it forward, because it's really, because your body has Noble Ali as the man. So I'm kind of great that you bring this conversation, because this is even some new knowledge to me also. So I'll be definitely looking into our great prophet there. My brother Kudjo, two questions we had on the show this jump. They kind of came up before it was answered. One the brother was asking who was the Moors, but I wanted to answer him for you, but I wanted you to answer. He was saying, who are the Moors? Where does Moor come from? And he's wanting to know what the word Moor mean. Okay, which why you don't check that online. Another question was sent by our brother Kunta. He's saying, do you know that we fought the Moors coming from Spain into into the Songhai Empire, and they destroyed the Songhai and opened up Africa to the European slave trade?
Okay, so those are the two questions you want to sort of
Questions,
address.
yeah.
Well, the first
Yes.
the first one, who are the Moors? Like Noble Ali said, you're not Negro black colored, you're Moors. So anybody who's classified as Negro black colored, that's who the Moors are. I'm not getting into this dumb historical whatever narrative that people like to play, as if there's people called black on the planet, as if there's people called Negro and African. The people aren't called that. People are identified by
Right.
nationalities. So anybody who doesn't identify by a nationality that looks like African, they're a Moor. And anybody who has a nationality that looks like African, they're a Moor, even though their nationality is Sudanese or Egyptian or whatever. Look at Deuce Muhammad Ali. He's a Moor. He's from Egypt and he's from Sudan, and he wore a fez every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see anybody debating him when he was going around the world with his newspaper and doing plays and all that stuff. I don't see nobody debating him about Songhai empires and we fought the Songhai and we made the Europeans come into Africa and all that stuff. I ain't hear none of that. Anybody who studies knows that the Europeans had their own meeting at the Berlin Conference to carve up Africa. That has nothing to do with Moors. What does that have to do with Moors? What's the Berlin Conference have to do with Moors? Everybody knows that. The Berlin Conference, that's how they carved up Africa. Everybody knows that. Except dumb niggers who don't study. And they play this emotional game as if everything is up for debate with dumb people. Stuff's not up for debate with dumb people. We use it in order to teach people, because they're not going to get the information any other way, because our people have fallen into debate culture where everything needs to be debated. No, it doesn't. Only for dumb people. That's what I was saying with the dude, that don't be wasting your sleep time, 8 hours trying to convince this guy about some dumb stuff. He knows he's a colonist. He knows Europe's not his home. Europe comes from a Moorish queen, Europa. So if Europa comes from a Phoenician, which is dark-skinned people, then how does Europe belong to pale people? How's that their land?
Right.
But again, when you put the history out there, people want to debate. They don't want to deal with it. So all right, then debate. They're debating on their own. Cause they ain't not debating me, because there's nothing to debate. If I'm debating, it's for the people who are listening to learn something. It's not to prove some point, because there's nothing to prove. It's already been proven. Nobujuali been around since the 1900s telling us that we're Moors. Ain't no secret.
So, Brother Kudjo, sometimes I think about the situation, I laugh at our people, yeah. These devils use the same trick on us, and our people keep on falling for a divide and rule, right? So, when I look at the situation, if you look at Israel now, yeah, those people that claim that they're Israelites are not even the real Israelites. Yeah, if you go to Tunisia, if you go to Morocco, you go there, you see some white people. Yeah, and our people will believe that the Moors, that they call it the so-called Moors, that was in Spain, are different, somehow different from them, for one. Or they're even saying black Moor, you got black Moor and white Moor, yeah, and they're not realizing that these European kind of came and infiltrated it. And I was trying to tell this brother, if you got a big family, you got your sons and you got your grandsons, you got your cousins, you got your nieces and everything, whatever, and one of your family member go out there and do something bad, are you going to try to say, for example, blame the whole nation? So that even argument, there's no weight on it. This is one of the people, they make, it's just like, when we look at the situation with Hitler, Hitler with Germany, and they paint Hitler to be this monster. And if you really study the history of Hitler, Hitler was killing out the fake Jews. That's why he was killing, because he knew they were not the real Jews. But our people, run with this information that the white people kill them and say, yes, Hitler was a Nazi and he didn't like black people. But if we really check the levels and see, it's the same situation they do with us. So it's a dividing thing, because we're not recognizing ourselves as one nation. You have the segregation. They say you did this and you did that, and that's all the white people. Just like when they went in the Berlin Conference and cut up Africa. But the question, I don't know if he's using Songhai as the older name for Africa, or he's talking prior to the Berlin Conference. I don't know, but the conversation, I don't know.
No, but the song, like when you look at this idea, right, of um, quote unquote Songhai, right? You look at Songhai Empire. The predominant um, the predominant um, group of people that ruled Songhai were Malian. That's Mali.
Right.
Okay, well, Malians are Moors. That's a documented fact that Malians are Moors. So if Malians are Moors and then Moors went to Mali and conquered the Songhai Empire, isn't that the same stuff like Bloods and Crips?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we debating? What's the debate? If these are the same people fighting, infighting.
Right.
The guy on one side of the street is saying the other guy on the other side of the street is part of a different gang and now we're enemies, instead of them being unified and controlling the world.
They spend time debating, brother. That's what we do. I think our people like to talk or something.
That's what I'm saying, that our people have fallen into that culture. Our people have fallen into that. Right? Our people have fallen into that. And they fell into it because they don't study. Because if they studied, they would know that there's nothing to debate.
Mm-hmm. You know, this strong. I was doing my license. I was getting back my license. I was giving you a call. I see you was busy still, and I spoke to Sheldon, and Sheldon even brought something to light to me. And I'm saying these people, the way they disguise things in front of your eyes, if you really don't go into your deep self and study and check what's going on, you'll be so blind to see it. Like Mr. MR, yeah?
Mm.
These little beasts, what they have done, Kudjo, is remove the 2 O in Moor and capitalize.
Yeah. Yeah, but also too the misters were Moors. Misters weren't Europeans. Because Mister's a title of nobility. Madame is a title of nobility. Ain't no Europeans that are Madame and all that.
So, were we using the Mister? Were you saying we were using MR before?
No, I'm saying that when they engaged us, they had to deal with us on royal terms. King,
Yeah.
emperor, Mister, Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how they had to deal with us, because we weren't their nigger.
Yeah.
We were the rulers, the knights. All that is our people. Right? Once they got us out the way, once they got us out of our own minds, now all these different titles they can now use. Jew. That's not their stuff. But if the real Jews are playing Ethiopian, then then these people are gonna steal your stuff.
That's right, brother. And that's what it comes to, because this is what I'm looking at, what you're saying. Like our people, when people say to them that you know that you're a knight, they will tell you like, move from some man, that's a queen thing, that's a
Right.
English thing, that's not for the.
Exactly.
You need to go Africa. You need to go talk about Africa and talk about this and Zulu warriors and all that, because this is the trick they play on us, and we keep falling for the same thing, because they've demonized what we have just so you look like all the Masons. They turn the Freemasons and make it look like it's some devil cult, which is the Ma and the Sun. And we run away from that, because for years people are talking about Jersey and those people are Freemasons and people in, you know what I mean? And when you realize our things, because this is what they do, they come inside of it, infiltrate it, make it a way that it looks horrible to us, and we want to stay away from it, and then they use it and contain the power and rule us, I tell you, peace and love, brother. We got some females, there are some people on the platform, and then get to these 2 messages.
Just with regard to the night thing as well, right?
Yes.
They're gonna say that they're not knights, right? That's some European thing or whatever. But then on the other side, they're gonna talk about Nut, which is night. Nut. N-U-T.
Nut.
N-U-T.
Okay, enlighten that, brother. I'm not familiar with that. What's Nut?
In ancient cosmology, in ancient Egypt, cosmology,
okay.
Nut is the heavens. Nut is the night sky.
Right.
Night, night as in day, night.
Yes.
Night is Nut, which is an ancient Egyptian goddess. So how are they not
So in
knights? How are they not knights? But their ancient foremothers and forefathers was night. Because don't think because they put the K in front of the N that you're talking about something other than night.
again, brother. See, you
Like
brought up that again.
they're called knights because they look like night. They look like midnight. That's why they call knights.
Oh,
That's not a
right.
European thing.
See that?
Knights look like night, not Europeans.
Uh, okay. Because okay, so they brought the knight on the chessboard. Is there any other players like the bishop and the rook? Have those got anything to do with us?
No,
Have they
go
come in?
look at all the pieces. We already know who the bishop is,
Yep.
right? We already know who king, queen, and all that stuff is,
Yep. And the rook,
right?
which is it represent that kind of castle what they make, their castle thing. On the walls.
Which isn't really their castle, because they didn't build castle. They lived in barns.
Yes.
They didn't live in castles. They got castles after they conquered us and took our castle and called it theirs.
But if you look at the chess game, brother, there's only two players that I would say represent us on the chess, yeah, which would be the knight as you establish, and maybe the bishop. I mean the rook, which basically got the castle. So what I'm bringing this point to say now, because I play chess, I'm very good at chess. The knight is the only one that can jump over anybody, okay? And the rook is like the base, and then obviously the little pawns are the stupid people that call the black Negroes to send them out, you know what I mean, to sacrifice themselves. But it's funny that the knight especially is the only one that can jump over everybody. So it's like I'm looking, they're using us, they're using to represent the traitors that goes inside. They can jump over and get in because it's part of us. So when it's attacking, especially, you know what I mean, it's a knight. So we think it's us. It's funny over that game, that special pawn move still in the in
Mm-hmm.
that in the yes. So I just want to bring that up.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the K in front of the knight just changed the whole vibration, and we look like it's not got nothing to do with us, right?
Yeah.
Again, the trick. So they sort of put their master at disguising things right in
European
front of them.
psychology.
Yeah, yeah. I want to rise up, my brother. Them rise up, brother. This is the brother on the platform, Kudjo. He's doing some recording of the autobiography of Malik El. He's done about 7 recording out, so I've spoken to him. I'm definitely going to bring that on the show. It's a beautiful life of our brother. So rise up, my brother Dim. Welcome to the platform. Eleanor, the prophet. Rise up to our brother Sheldon. Peace and love, peace and love. Let's get you some of this message, brother.
Yeah.
Rise up, rise up.
Hey, peace and love, family. I hope you're doing good. Ikon Bay, hope you're doing good, my brother. We played the latest chapter in the autobiography of Malcolm X last night. It's available. So if you want to go give it a listen, you can go give it a listen at your convenience. And I'm going to be back Monday night, and we're going to continue on with the autobiography. So hope you're in attendance, brother. Stay safe. I'm out.
Peace and love.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are talking about the Moors, because that's a history that needs to be taught. It's ironic that the Caucasians who come from Europe, think that they're superior to blacks, but they fail to take into account, the influence the Moors had on European culture and way of life. I mean, we can talk about Abu Hassan Ali ibn Nafi, aka Zirab, or the Blackbird, because of his dark complexion and his nice singing voice, and how he taught the Europeans hygiene. He taught them how to bathe. He taught them how to shave. He taught them to use toothpaste, to use perfume. He taught them about 5-course meals and how to eat things properly in sequence to aid your digestion. But you see, somehow these people think they're superior because they're white, and they learn off everything from black people.
Rise up, my brother. Rise up. Peace and love to you. So true. Give thanks for those knowledge and gems. Rise up, my brother Sheldon. Peace and love to you. Great to have you on the platform as usual.
Peace. Islam Moors, Islam Ikon, Islam Kudjo. And Kudjo, you're right. Nut is the heavens in ancient Egypt. The goddess of night. Yup. 100% correct.
And then with regard to what the brother just said, that Europeans from Europe, Europeans are from South America. Europeans are not from Europe. Remember we just said Europe comes from Europa, which is a Phoenician. So if Europa is a Phoenician, then that's not their home. That's your home. But we want to be Negro black colored, and we want to call them white. So now they took over your stuff because you're calling them white, which means that they're the sovereign. Because white is not skin complexion, because Europeans don't look like paper, and we don't look like tar. And even if we did look like tar, we're not going to call ourselves black. We're going to have a nationality.
And to add to what you're saying, brother, white is a status. It's not a color. It's a status. And most of people confuse it with color. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. But you know, it's just funny because I'm just here laughing again, but because you know, as I said, the question was raised on the show last strong, like what does the word more mean? And we just look at the word Mister and see that take out the two O's out of it and put, you know what I mean, that's MR. But our people would sign papers and put Mr. this and Mr. that and Mrs. this and Mrs. that. But if you tell them to put MOOR, they would be like, no, that's not me. You know, it's just, and you're looking again, the K in front of the N, it's just like, the semantics that these people have, so much with us looking and laughing because they do these little small tricks on us, and we didn't even realize it. It's so simple. Like, if we just take that moment and stop, just take a moment and stop and just look at it on a deeper point, the answers will be right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes, brother. Got a message here from our brother Sheldon. Let's take this message. Peace, brother.
Peace. I have to disagree with Mr. Biracial, the biracial brother there. He said about the 5-course meals. I'm sorry, brother, but you're incorrect. It was 7-course meals. 7-course meals. Yeah, man. But it's true, everything that he was saying. But I will say this. The one place that does not hide it of Europe is Germany. And Switzerland as well. Germany doesn't hide it because the Habsburgs of the Holy Roman Empire, they have an allegiance to the Moroccan Empire, so they don't hide anything. Like I said, that's why you have your Moor's pharmacies, schools, more street, all of that stuff all over Germany and Switzerland.
Rise up, brother Sheldon. So the brother Sheldon, he just said the Habsburgs. Brother Coach, are you there?
Yeah.
The brother Sheldon said the Habsburgs got a loyalty to the Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, because in order for anybody to have anything, they had to have a treaty with the Moors. Because the Moors ruled the planet. Like for example, when they talk about when like we were talking about earlier with the whole thing with the Songhai and all that, right? The whole point of Morocco going into Songhai was because of the trade. Because Songhai had their own trade. When you talk about spices and whatever else like that, right? It was a salt and gold trade. Songhai, look at when they talk about the richest man on the planet and all that stuff, they're talking about Malian. Because the gold there was extensive. Why wouldn't somebody go raid there? These people got all the gold on the planet. Why wouldn't they get raided? You make it as if it's something wrong that people went there and raided there. They had the most gold in the world, Songhai. Why wouldn't people go there and raid? And it wasn't just Moors who went there. There are other people, other African nations went there too to go rape them. It wasn't just Morocco only, right? But obviously they were caught up as far as Songhai. Obviously they were caught up because it was 1500s or 1600s when um, Askia got defeated.
Askia.
Yeah, the Songhai ruler.
Okay, okay.
Right, and they only got defeated because they were outnumbered, which is the whole point, which is art of war and all that stuff. If you got more than them, then you better win.
Yeah. So, brother, as we're saying, because I'm following the stories that we said, all of us are the same family, same nation, should I say? There is a word, family, nation, and we're all Moors. Over the decade, everybody kind of find a name for themselves. They have Songhai Empire, and then, we were originally probably all the Moors before, and then people call themselves Zulu or whatever. And, when what you're saying, they came in and the Moors came in and robbed the Songhai Empire. So they're not saying their brothers are, they're saying the Moors. And I think that's what kind of made this, we're coming into 2021 and we're seeing people are talking about the Moors did and the Moor that, because they don't see themselves as the same. I think that's where the separation kind of breaks.
Yeah, look how they don't see it, right? They're gonna talk about the Moors went and invaded and all this, right? The Moors went to Songhai, they destroyed Songhai, they brought Islam there and killed people under Islam. No, they didn't. Songhai was Islamic. Timbuktu was Islamic. Timbuktu was the center of learning. Everybody was going there to learn. You think they weren't teaching them Islam there? Well, they were teaching them everything else, but they weren't teaching them Islam there? Stop the BS. It's all the same culture. Different variations of the same culture. The same people.
This is a little question I would love you to answer, because this conversation kind of brought up. Because I know that Muslim, the Moors, we spell Muslim as M-O-S. Those in what they call the Middle East, which there's no place called the Middle East anyway, they spell it with an M-U. And the same thing again, like, because we know they're white people mix, they're the one that's mixed out, and they kind of call themselves Arab, and the Africans have this thing that Arab was slaving us long before the so-called Caucasians started slaving us. I want to know, which Arabs are they talking? Are they talking about the Moors, or at that time was this M-U-S Muslim came in, which they call it Islamic, because they take the I self-law and mass, like, I call it Islamic, and just like the Muslim, they call it, Muslim. So I'm just wondering the timeline. When did the old change to you? And when they're talking about the Arabs that enslaved the so-called black people before the Caucasian was there, are they referring to the Moors?
Okay, so Muslim means one who submits, submitter. That's what Muslim means. M-U-S-L-I-M. A Muslim is a submitter. So if anybody submits to a higher if anybody submits to a higher force, a higher cause, anybody who submits, they're Muslim. I don't care what their religion is. If they say, oh, there's a God, and then they say that they're below that God and they're going to pray to that God or whatever, they're Muslim. A Muslim, on the other hand, is archaic. That's before worshiping stuff outside of yourself. A Muslim is one who realizes that they're God and that God and man are one, and there's no separation. There's no God out there, and then I'm God, and then there's a God out there too, and then we trade
Hey, Kudjo,
energy back and forth or whatever.
Not to interrupt you, Kudjo. Do you consider yourself a Muslim or a Muslim?
I'm a Muslim because I don't submit to Allah. I'm one with Allah. I'm not confused.
Right. Trying to tell niggas worshiping this fairy tale person in the sky, bro. Person they been trying to reach is a person who they are the whole time. Peace and love, brother. Telling them peace and welcome to the show, brother. This recording you play it on the radio, so whatever I was saying, you want to keep it clean, but you can express yourself at any level. Just to bring that into you. Rise up, brother Sheldon. Welcome to the platform. Peace and love to you, brother.
Peace be among y'all. Thank you for having me. Got here. I talking about I got a couple friends that's Moors and stuff. So anytime I see y'all around, I gotta get into the loop with it. Feel me? Cause I don't really fuck with a lot of people and shit. I only fuck with the Moors and shit, Muslims and shit. Cause that's where the knowledge at, man. We was Muslims way before we was Christians and shit. So all of the TV shows and movies, they throw it in plain sight. You just too dumb to see it. Shit goes over our heads. You try to explain people this shit. They be like, nah, we wasn't no Muslim. I don't know. I think ever since 9/11, people just scared to even hear the word Muslim or Islam. As far as that's already been indoctrinated by Christianity.
That's what it is, brother. Because when we look at the Freemasons, man. What the coach was saying, Red Freemasons, they associated with the Roman people that's into this cult type of behavior. And just like I was saying, Muslim, they're confused and they make you scared of it. So when our people, like I was having this discussion on my radio station about this recording in Kudjo did last time, and I brought a phone up and said, "Brother Ikon, you look like you're coming here to convert us into this Muslim thing. You come and talking about this Islam, and I'm saying to them, do you know what Islam means? They think it's got something to do with Muslim, but it actually means I serve law master. So what these people have done, as Brother Kudjo is saying, they take our stuff and make us scared of it or think it's some demonic thing, so we don't have nothing to do with it, and that's what we're losing out.
Exactly.
We live in the pause.
You try to split 666 mean the devil, and they don't even understand. They got sorcerers and shit, mind fucking them and shit.
There you go. So, Brother Kudjo, as I was saying before, the timeline, right? So, those Arabs that we're talking about, I was asking you earlier on, that they said slave, so-called black people in Africa. Do you think they was referring to the Moors?
The Arabs that enslaved black people?
That's
the Saracens?
The Arabs before. They said the Arabs enslaved black people before the Caucasian did. So which Arabs are they referring to?
No, it doesn't matter. It's just like when you say a blood killed a Crip. You don't care where it is. It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff.
You're saying with Muslims though, right? Because this is two Muslims. You got, the Saracens, then you got the Moors. So whoever sold us into slavery, if we get
the concept that people have is based in what the Europeans call slavery. That's not slavery. If we have a war and you lose, you're going to be my slave. That's not slavery.
That's basically being conquered. It's just being conquered.
If you lose, then you're gonna be subject to who won. That's just what it is. Ain't nothing. Somebody going in and taking people and all that stuff. That ain't what's going on. If you're weak, you're gonna get conquered. It's that simple. That's how it was in ancient times.
So it's in nature too. It's in nature. It's in the world we live in right now. Yeah. You go into the animal kingdom, you can see that. That's exactly what it is.
So you saying we were us as black people? We're not black people, you know what I mean by that. You mean us by like we was the ones that been conquered, or we was weak?
We were the conquered, and we were the conqueror. The first slave.
What happens when somebody betray you?
Say it again.
What happens when somebody betray you and you don't see it? You think they're your friend. You know, you got the Moors and you got the Saracens. What if the Saracens the one that sold? Since they said we worship Islam prior to Christianity, that maybe the Saracens probably sold us over and shit. The Moors, you feel me? Because do you hear about any Arabs being in slavery? What you hear about is us. A lot of people been in slavery, but mostly you hear it about, like, you know, black people or African Americans. So
No, but that's because yeah, but that's because people have this European concept of what humanity is. Humanity is you're either pale or you're dark skinned. Period. That's it. What side are you on? Or if you're on the pale side, more than likely you were conquered. So in this day and age, you have a vendetta against people who conquered you. So you're going to do whatever you can to conquer them back. It's called the law of retribution. It's called cause and effect. You're not going to go do something to somebody else and the stuff's not going to come back to you. Especially if you do something negative to them. It's going to come back to you. But our people weren't thinking like that. That's how you know that we were in a fallen state. Because why would you conquer somebody else? Why would I see some Bloods? Why would I be a Crip? Why would I be a Crip? See some Bloods and not think, hey, you guys got guns, we got guns. Both of us are fighting against the police getting arrested and shit like that. Why don't we just unite so we don't have to freaking deal with that? Why would I be a Haitian and a Dominican and we're on the same landmass, but we're talking about we're separate things when we're on the same landmass?
That's because people lost their minds. It's not the landmass they own, it's the mind. It's all about the mind. Everything started in the mind.
No, but that's the point. That's the point that I'm making. That's the point.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with. It does nothing to do with who enslaved who and whoever, whatever. It has to do with where are the people's minds at. If the people's minds are we don't know what to call ourselves, then anything and anyone living is their enemy as soon as they do something negative to them. When negativity is not supposed to be looked at it like that. Negativity is just the opposite pole of positive. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing if something negative happens. You're supposed to learn from it. So when they say the Moors went and enslaved somebody and the black people got enslaved or whatever, so what lesson did our people learn? Oh, that the Moors are the slave traders and the whatever. No, the lesson you're supposed to learn is don't be black, because then you're going to get conquered. But our people don't want to learn that. They want to stay black and not get conquered. All right, then stay black. You're going to be conquered. That's just what it is. Just like they say, oh, well, we need to have a new Black Wall Street. Well, if they did whatever they did to the last Black Wall Street, why would you call it black? How dumb are you? But that's where our people are at.
Chinese man to come over here and say, let's set up Yellow Wall Street. It's Chinese. Followed by the nation, you feel me?
No, they did come up here and set up Yellow Wall Street in every country in the world. They just never called it yellow.
Because it's color of law. Yeah.
Because they know better.
Color, they just call it by their nation.
Yeah, because they're a nation. Why would they call it anything else?
Yep. Beautiful. Part of an empire, you know. They don't come over here and say, yo, call myself a yellow man and set up Yellow Wall Street. You know, of course, we are human, so we're probably subscribed to a color, but you gotta be part of the nation though, because the nation has security. The color don't have no security; it's just a color. It's not even a human. It's not even animated. It's inanimated. Can't do anything to nobody. It's an adjective. You feel me?
Yeah, and that's what people.
Like a pronoun. It's an adjective.
Peace, Moors. Peace.
Peace, Moor.
Peace and love, brother. Come forward. Go on. Have an interjection, brother. I know you got some gems to jump. Go on, brother.
Yeah, Paul, I signed on before, but I was actually out, and so I was trying to mute, and so I guess I signed out. But I was about to say, see, a lot of our people want the advantages of the rest of the world, but then they don't want to think like the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean. So nobody else in the world calls themselves adjectives. No one. But our people want to still do the same thing that they're doing, but then get the rights of the rest of the world. And it just doesn't work that way. You know? People in the Middle East, people in the so-called Middle East don't call themselves beige. They don't. You know, it's easy. You know, everybody. You know, the example is always like, you know, obviously Asia, you know, yellow and so on and so forth. But nobody like go to the Mediterranean where these people are so-called beige. They don't call themselves beige. You know, just let that sink in. So, you know, like I said, our people want human rights and they want all this stuff, but then they're not referring to themselves as humans by calling themselves an adjective.
But the Einstein say, keep doing the same thing and expect some same different result is a sign of madness. So Einstein said, I think, was a quote of Einstein.
I don't think Einstein dealt with relativity. That's not a quote from Einstein, I don't think. But I know that quote, yeah, insanity is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Exactly. And that's what people.
No, but that's the thing. What do you expect? If they're insane, what do you want from them? Like, why would you expect them to do something different if they're insane? Why are you looking at you're talking about the people on the psycho ward, the people on the psycho ward, and you're talking about, you know, going there and put your ear to their mouth and stuff like that, as if they're not gonna bite your ear off, and then get mad when they do it. They're insane. That's the whole point of colonization. Have these people out of their mind. If you're out of your mind, then you're not in it. And if you're not in your own mind, you're gonna have problems.
That's right, brother. That is so right. Peace and love to everyone on the platform. Just saying we have this weekly Q&A. Feel free to join us each and every strong from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. GMT time, where we're talking about color of law. Is there a color of law? Does it matter if you call yourself white, black, yellow, pink, Negro? Does it really matter? So rise up to each and every one on the platform at the right hour and every time. Let's take these two messages from our beautiful Empress in spoken voice. Welcome to the platform, Empress. Peace and love to you. Peace and hope you're having a wonderful day and full joy in the energy of Ra in the UKK today. Rise up, Empress.
Islam, 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 grandest presence. Well, for me, it's Ladies, but I trust you moving up. Happy Saturday, wishing you all well, trusting you all.
Beautiful, Empress.
Apart from the Caucasians call themselves white.
Hey.
Yeah, that was in the 1900s, though. That was in the 1900s.
And, you know, just to chime in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, brother. Otherwise.
No, you go ahead, bro. I was just thinking what she said. She said, Caucasians call themselves white. I was like, that's after the 1900s, so.
Right.
They started adding people saying you black and white and colored and all that. All these different names. But,
okay.
we was talking about, you know, Kudjo was talking about you out of your mind. I was watching something yesterday. Well, not yesterday, like a few days ago. By this other Moorish guy, I forgot his name, but he went into like the birth certificates and like the laws behind the birth certificate and how they say they use the word sanitary. So sanitary doesn't mean how we think it means. Like, oh, make sure you put this sanitary wipes on you to clean yourself. Nah, that was pertaining to sanitary, how they was describing it as having a sound mind. You know, if you don't have a sound mind, then you're gonna be disorderly. You know, you have a poisonous mind. So I kind of find that interesting how the word sanitary, when you look at the etymology of it, has the word sane in it. You feel me? I mean, you gotta have a sound mind. unsanitary. They're affected. They've been compromised. That's all.
Beautiful point there, brother. And I'm glad you brought those vibration in, because I was looking at the word hospital, hospice, and all of that. And if you ever see what that means, so you saw they flip the word sanitary to be something bad, and then they make hospice and hospitals and these type of places that they help you. And that's, if you ever see the meaning of those words, so that's what the thing with everything that they do, they flip it around, and that's what I said. But all you need to do is turn it back around, because that's exactly what they do. Exactly what they do with the earth itself too. They make a vibration, on its top, so they stand up in a square. So beautiful points there.
Got to, bro. I'm going to study the law. I'm trying to study law to the full maximum of my capacity, bro. It's all about law, Brian. These people are going to just use sorcery to trick you. We don't even know whether or not these people are sorcerers or not, or we just too dumb to understand what they're speaking. It's all about language. A lot of us don't even understand language. Like 2 days ago, I'm traveling, and I was in Jersey, and I went to one of the truck stops, and these people, what they call it, so Christians that be, they go to certain places and then they try to talk to people. So they talking to people and they explaining Christianity. And I was like, God don't be God, right? God is a title. He's like, God is not a title, da da da. I'm like, God means Zeus, bro. Well, you gotta study your language. And trying to tell them, like, you're reading I'm like, what version of the Bible you got? He said, I got King James. I'm like, there's mad different versions of the Bible. You got all these different transliterations. And the Bible said not to eat pork with Jesus' name. The suffix of his word, sus, means paid. So why would somebody tell you to worship or follow their commandments or just follow their way of not eating pork with this stuff, and you're still doing it? But then he had something to say. He was like, well, that's in the New Testament. I'm like, so you forgot about the Old Testament. You feel me? It's like, it's crazy, bro. And we trying to, like, I don't know, like, but it's a new way now. We can do new things now. Like, nah, that's not how it go, bro. God never changes. God was still firm throughout time. Feel me? If God said this is what it is, that's what it's going to be. You don't say, well, I want to change it. If God say change it, then you can change it. But God will let you know when you need to change it. But if you eating pork and all these hospitals and all these scientists saying don't eat pork and all this bad effects and sugar and all that shit, and they still doing it, like, oh, well, the Bible says we can do it and we can do this. Like, nah, bro, that don't even sound right. That sounds like somebody just saying you could do whatever you want and suffer the consequences, That's like basically saying, like, all right, I'm the puppet master and you're just my puppet. Do whatever you want to do. You got the right to choose whatever.
But brother, what you say? Because that's the concept. Religion kind of paint. Yeah, religion kind of paint this topic that you can do whatever you want to do, and then you just pray to this Jesus, and everything will back to normal. So they can change their rules to suit their, their agenda at all times. So that's what they teach in religion. That's exactly what it is. Where when you have a concept on a way of life, then it's just like the sun come up every day. You got the nights, you got the season, it never changes. But people like to change and flip the switches to suit their needs. I just want to add that in what you're saying. But peace and love.
Peace. I just wanted to add on real quick. I mean, technically speaking, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be real, anybody could do whatever they want. But there's always a consequence to whatever your action is.
Right.
So if you want to do whatever you want, accept the consequences and don't complain. It's as simple as that. That's what freedom of choice is. You can choose to do whatever you want, whatever energy you want to put out there. It's all up to you. That's what freedom of choice is. But whatever comes back to you, you have to accept those consequences. Period.
That's facts, though. God did say that. Cause I even read the Bible too. I still got my Bible, my old Bible. I even got the Lord's books of the Bible. And God did say, He was like, yo, since y'all listen to the devil, listen to Satan, we gonna let him rule over y'all. You feel me? So basically, God's gonna let Satan rule over you until you come to your senses and realize that you're being led down a path and a dark path. So, God believes say, yo, go ahead, you can do whatever you want to do, but understand, I already showed you the light in the darkness. I showed you it before it even happened to you. But people out here still doing wicked shit. And they think, oh, well, let me tell them, you can still do this and you can still do that. Like, nah, it's not how it goes. You show them the light and you show them the darkness so that when they do decide, when anything ever comes in their path, they can understand, well, I already been taught this, somebody showed me it before it happened. They more like teaching people, like, just follow this book. Don't care about the consequences. They're not even showing them the consequences. They're not even showing them the light and the darkness between them. They're just saying, hey, just read this book and just go along with it. Like, nah, bro. You're making people confused because they don't even understand the language which they speak.
But how and why would they understand if they're insane?
Exactly. Insane people trying to the insane people. They all going insane. Instead of making us insane shit by even indulging into their business and trying to help them out.
Exactly.
It's harder.
Peace and let's rise up some listeners. Rise up to Noble Joe. Rise up to Vince here, being beautiful and broken boys. Rise up. Muscle, gonna get to your message. That means shout out to Empress Sugar Queen, Empress McKellen. Rise up, Reese, Empress Reese. What you saying? How you doing? Hope everything is well. I've heard it from you a while. Let's take this message from our brother.
I agree. I do agree. And I like what you said there.
Okay, rise up. Brother Muscle. So, Brother Kudjo, we've dissected this color thing, and we are not digging. We're gonna stop down niggas to it, so we know what it is. The other word I would love to look at, I'm looking into the Moorish document, and it's also in there, is Africa. And I'm wondering why it's also in the Moorish. I know it's for people to overstand, maybe, but I'm wondering if, for the knowledge that we overstand, that Africa is not even the name of that landmass. I'm just wondering why we still use it, because it's kind of sending a bit of confusion. Because when I'm talking about Africa and black, and people relating it back to it, see in the Moorish document, I don't know if you could shed some light on the reason why that is.
Well, again, the whole idea of things being mentioned is based on where our people are at. But recognize that he never said African. Nowhere in there does it identify that Africa is related to a people.
Yes, that's right. He's only relating to it, to our people, when he's saying that, yes. And he said, yes, it's true.
It's not being used in the context of people. It's being used in the context of place, which is what it is.
Yes.
But then when you go through the literature, this is why being part of the Moor Science Temple is a prerequisite. Because once you're part of the Moor Science Temple, now you're going to get the inside information that the true and divine name of Africa is really Amexem. Yes. But if he went around talking about Amexem, people are looking at him like he's crazy. Because they don't have the knowledge of what Amexem is. So he had to reel them in by saying Africa. Just like he had to reel them in by saying this is a religious corporation, when it was really bringing the nation back. These people don't know what a nation is. So if they hear Grand Sheik and Grand Governor and all that stuff, they're thinking about religious titles. They're not going to know that that's governmental titles. Those are elected officials. Right? You have Moors today telling you that Grand Sheik and all that stuff is not elected officials. Noble Ali didn't know what he was doing when he said Grand Sheiks and Grand Governors or whatever. But we have a constitution which nations have that. And we have bylaws which cities have that. So what's he really telling you? He covered all the bases for Moors. All the bases were covered. For the dummies who want to come in and they don't know anything, they could learn something. And then for the adepts who know what this is and they want to take their place amongst the affairs of men, and they got a place. That's why I can talk how I talk. Because I know Grand Sheik is an elected official. So anybody who needs a Grand Sheik, they could reach out and they're going to get Grand Sheik treatment. But anybody else who they're beyond that and they know that we're a nation and we're all family, Kudjo's their brother. Ain't no grand sheik Kudjo when we're chilling.
That's right, brother.
You ask who you are, bringing a title involved in it, kind of making somebody seem like the superior, but instead of just talking to them, you're just playing them on the game. So nah, you got to go to this particular person to get the information. Like nah, like.
And that's how they have it set up. That's how it's set up now. It's set up that, oh, that guy over there is the whatever. So because he is the vizier of whatever, then we gotta. That's no different than people looking at Jesus want to touch his garments when he passed by and stuff like that to get some blessings. It's no different. Same thing they're doing. You don't need to touch. You don't need to touch Taj's shirt to be the man. How about go study?
That's weird.
How about go study to be the man? How about that? How about unify with other Moors who are of the same mindset as you? But nah, 10,000 people are gonna be watching House of Ram or whatever because Taj is on there, and then he's talking about the same stuff he was talking about 30 years ago. What's that tell you? Not that the people are still dumb.
Beautiful, brother, beautiful, and that's so true. Because we had this conversation and everybody's in the conversation. What did the Moor do for our people? What is the Moor doing for our people? The Moor helping us. And I said, you know what the Moor does? And that's exactly saying. The more knowledge make you to be I, self, Allah, and master, where you don't need to be looking to nobody to praise them or rise them up. Or if you really go and study your knowledge, you don't need nobody. So you see all of us on the same level. All of us, as Brother Kudjo said, we're all brothers. But if you're incompetent, then you're going to have to see him as a grand chief because you need help. But if you're not incompetent, you're going to see him as your brother with a shared knowledge and rise yourself on. Because our people are lazy. These are the things that's holding us back. And that's so right what you said, Brother Kudjo. So right. Peace and love. I don't know if brother wants to make an interjection before we get to the messages. Rise up.
Now we're good.
Okay, let's get to these messages. Rise up to Empress Reese, beautiful to see you on the platform. All is well with you. Islam.
Excuse me, we recycle and we give back that energy to the universe once we finish our service here on this terra plane. So in that's where my understanding, my studies had led me to understand that Africa is, because on this side we would say that we are in Northwest Africa, Northwest Amexem. You see what I'm saying? So it really depends, like Kudjo said, on your mindset where you are, and that's really all there is to it. Peace to the gods, peace to the gods. Just to kind of go back on the Africa, why do we call Africa Africa? At one point, no different how you have people who's called this terra plane, Pangea, Gaia, Asia, you have Africa. And at a time, there was an actual time where everyone was called, Asiatic, or even now, Earth. You have people, they call us Earthlings, but the name that we go with is Moor, understanding that when you look at the etymology of Moor, it encompasses land and water, and we own all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's what we utilize, and we take from nature and recycle and give back when we're finished.
And it's so beautiful, sometimes the Empress, give thanks, Empress receive. So we miss you on the platform, tell you miss you because you always drop some gems. And Brother Kudjo, the energy of words, our people try to demonize this word. That's why I want to be on the platform with the brother tomorrow. Yeah. And this word is so beautiful. Look how the Empress has put it. Why would you run away from a word like that? And then you would run to a word that's so derogative and that's putting you down. And that's what I'm saying. Our people must be sick in their head. They really must be in some mental capacity where they can't even see through that. That word is so beautiful in every sense.
No, but it's not just our people, it's the world.
Wow.
It's not just our people.
Wow.
Just like you're saying with dude on Sunday. Why is he in denial of if the Moors are white too, then what's he debating?
Moors are, he said the Moors are the wicked people on the earth. The Moors are the one that put people into slavery, and the Moors want to come back and have their. But he's saying that we want to have our revenge for what we've been done to them.
He's not lying. The Moors were. We're the ones who created these Europeans that we're complaining about right now. He's not lying.
Mm-hmm.
But his problem is that he's caught in the superiority complex. Because right now they're in power, and it appears as if they're ruling. Because they have all the bombs and the guns and the armies and the tanks and all the gold and silver, and they have everything else. They think they're running something. Right, but everybody knows that material items don't make you who you are. Money doesn't make the man. It's free national standards and power that make a man. It ain't finance. Finance doesn't make you somebody. Think because you got finance, you're somebody.
Right, so Nation, anyone on the platform tomorrow 1 a.m. UK time. We'll be on the platform with Sir Ludwig. If you see him on Stereo Street, you know what he's about. You know, because he's been bashing and setting some narratives around the Moor. So we're just going to sort it out tomorrow. Not that we want to waste our energy and vibration. But
You said 1 a.m.?
1 a.m. UK time, yeah.
That's 2 a.m. here. Why you having it so early, man? What you doing?
Yeah, it's a good energy and time to deal with him, because it's going to be like 5-6 o'clock that time. This time, I think.
Oh, okay. He's at Morocco. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Let's take these 4 messages from our brother, Anonymous One and Empress Reese. Rise up, brother. Give thanks. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, brothers. Moorish Americans. You know, I thought about something not too long ago, and that was a coalition amongst the Moors, the nation, the 5%ers, the Hebrew Israelites, Muslims who are melanated, even though who are melanated. I've thought about that. Just a coalition. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, listen, the commonality is the melanin, right? The commonality that connects us is that we still live in this beast of a society. And even though we may have little doctrinal differences, but the commonality is more stronger than the little doctrinal differences. Can you imagine a coalition of these groups working together?
Well, that's the issue. The problem is that Moor is not a group, so don't put us in that category with the Hebrews and these people and that people. And we're not a group. We're a nation. So if we want this coalition, all those people need to just put more on whatever they're claiming. If you're nation of gods on earth, you're Moorish nation of gods on earth. If you're Hebrew Israelite, you're Moorish Hebrew Israelite. If you're Nation of Islam, you're Moorish Nation of Islam. If you're Rastafarian, you're Moorish Rastafarian. Until they embrace Moors, there's going to be no coalition. Because nationality is the coalition. And like we said earlier, find me some Chinese that are saying, we're Nation of Gods on Earth, we're Hebrew, we're this, we're that, we're all these other things except our nation. You're not finding that in any culture. You're not finding that. Zero. There's nobody out there who their religion or their organization supersedes their nation. No one. Only our people play that BS. Only our people play that. So until our people realize, and then with regard to all the things happening to our people, because we all know who the enemy is or whatever like that, the Moors are the only ones with remedy to beat this system, this beast system. Only the Moors have remedy. Everybody else, they're just playing march and picket. They're not doing anything to solve the issues. Only Moors are doing something to solve the issues. And what we're doing to solve the issue is getting our people to the mindset of recognizing that we're a nation. We're not organizations. We're not clubs. We're not lodges. We're not associations. We're not groups. We're a nation. But if you want to be a group, hey, do your thing. Just don't look at the Moors, because we're not a group. I yield the floor.
Rise up. Beautiful. And And just to add what Brother Kudjo say, when you go to group, brother, you're going to gang. You know, so it's close. It's a family of words. So we always say nation because when you see yourself as a nation, like the Chinese, everywhere the Chinese man go, anywhere in the world you go, it's always a Chinese. He never switch. And you see, when time we have the concept of nation building, that's the power you're talking about when all of us come together as a nation, not as a group.
No, but see,
Right?
but
So we said this
that's also the lie. The lie is that NOI is a nation. No, they're not. They're 501c3 registered organization. The nation of gods and earths. They're not a nation. They're just using nation in order to jack the Moors' energy because they know it's about nation. But if they're a nation in America, they would be saying that they're Moors, not gods and earths and black Asiatics and all this crap. They would be saying that they're Moors because as we know, nation of gods and earth comes from Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam comes from Moor Science Temple. So where are these people's fezzes at? Where's their turbans at? Where's their nationality cards? And why they keep calling people black, Negro, colored, and all this stuff and not calling them Moors? Either they're ignorant or they're a traitor. And I'll let you decide which one they are for yourself.
Right, so brother, let's get through these messages and get back in the conversation. Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome to the More or Less. You're here each and every Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Alright? So we give thanks to each and every one on this platform. Let's get this message from another brother, Anonymous One. Peace and love to you, brother.
Once again, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Peace, Islam, Mo. Yeah, I thought about this coalition for many years, man. And we had something like this in New York back in the mid-'80s. You know, I'm from Harlem and the Bronx. And, you know, my enlightener was big on the collaborations of the minds from different organizations. Although don't let me forget the Pan-Africanism, those who are part of that group too. Although Prophet Noble Drew Ali impacted and influenced Marcus Garvey, Elijah Poole Bey, who was Elijah Muhammad, and everything else. But still, a coalition would be phenomenal.
And that's another thing, Brother Kudjo. You see the brother talk about Elijah Poole Bey, yeah? And, the Nation of Islam do not give no reference at all to the Moors. And their so-called great godfather, they say, started the Nation of Islam. He declared himself to be a Moor. But nobody wants to have a conversation. They skip past the conversation. That's the thing with our people. We like to jump to certain places, as the brother was saying. We like to pick and choose which rule or which ancestors we want to follow. We never want to go to the root.
No, but again,
want to go to the root.
Again, they're not a nation. So why are they calling themselves a nation? That's COINTELPRO.
Broad.
They're not a nation. There's no such thing as an Islamic nation on the planet. Only in North America. Why is it that their headquarters is in Chicago, where Noble Drew Ali's headquarters is? Why are they saying that they're a nation? Why does the Fruits of Islam dress up like the Muftis? Why is there the whole concept of Muslim girls training and all that stuff? That's the same thing as the Sisters Auxiliary in the Moor Science Temple. They jacked everything.
We know that.
But then they buried Noble Drew Ali and buried their nationality and started telling you organizations are nations. And then everybody started following the pattern of them, that you could just call yourself a nation because we're a nation of black people in America with all this BS. They're a fraud.
Just join the corporation.
They're a fraud. They don't get any honors. Zero honors.
Yes. And that's why I say, everyone, this is the thing I love about the beauty, because I'm domiciled near the UK, and getting to this knowledge, I can see where I can stand in my square, and I don't need to be calling no leader of nothing to deal with what I need to deal with, because you just study knowledge, and that's the beauty of what the great Noble Drew Ali has left with all of us, and that's what I'm saying. I've not seen no type of nation across this entire earth which give you that self belief and that energy that you can stand in any situation when you have the knowledge. You don't need to call on nobody. Everybody else, you have to get a pastor to do this for you, or a bishop to do this for you, or some leader to do this to you. You know what I mean? With the Moors, just learn the knowledge, and everything that you want to be done to form a nation, you can do it individually. And that's when we come together now with that knowledge that everybody's got within themselves as I self law master, then to put that into a nation. And that's where the powerhouse is. Let's take these few messages from our empresses, and then we get back to the plan. We've got a few messages here and get back to the conversation. Just touching 20 minutes past the hour. We got 40 more minutes for the show. Gonna keep it tight. 2 hours definitely. Log into the show tomorrow, right? Show it to who's on the streets with us. Follow, keep up to date as we rise our vibration each and every strong. Rise up to our beautiful Empress Tracy, dropping some gems.
The mothers and fathers of civilization. Apologies. People have to remember when you claim to be the mothers and fathers of civilization, you're literally saying you were the first. You set the precedent for the good, the evil, the beautiful, the bad, ugly, indifferent. You see what I'm saying? We set the precedent. And now it's like we're in a filtering process right now, because we're trying to get it back to what it once was. But you can't do that where you have so many people running around with old skin. You see what I'm saying? We're trying to put fresh new wine in clear glasses, clear vases, you understand? Clear vessels. We can't have the cloudiness and the muck that's been going on when it comes to this information, because it will eat you up alive. I've seen so many people go crazy. Seriously. People think I'm angry when I speak or when I'm trying to really express myself with this information.
So right, Empress, like leaving some chicken in a plate from last week, and then you say you stop eating meat, and then cook some vegetable and put in that pot, and then start eating it from the same pot again, and saying you're a vegetarian. You definitely need to clean it, right? So rise up, Empress.
Excuse me. And I don't mean to digress, but some think that I'm angry when I try to express this information, but you have to remember there's been indoctrination, there's been misinformation. A lot of people don't really understand the paradigm in which we live, in which we're being directed to do certain things that are against nature, that are against our physical composition, our mental composition, and our spiritual ascension. A lot is going on. So when you speak about something such as the Divine and National Movement, when you speak of someone such as Noble Jew Ali, you can't help but take things personal. You can't help but want to set things in its right and exact proper manner when you deal with this information. And that's the charge of every Moor who's coming into this. You have to be able to be right and exact. You have to be able to take correction where necessary, because we are all we are of the perfection.
That's right, Empress. 5 points.
Excuse me, I just wanted to state the last part I said. We are of perfection.
There's a whole bunch of non-driving ass people here in Georgia.
Yeah, that makes me scared, yo, because now I gotta worry about driving in Georgia, because I heard there's a lot of women in Georgia. That's why I want to go to Georgia.
There's hella women in Georgia, but it's a hella people that make sure are born women.
Okay. So
It is not a factor. It is not a priority. But when it comes to status and law, it's the first issue. So if something happened, if something was to go, you had to go to court or some kind of legal affair, they would still look at you as black. The definition of that legally, they would still put you in that box. So your nationality is something that you have to know in order to counteract any type of box or any type of prejudice that they may put, force on you for the fact that you may have once called yourself black and haven't corrected it since.
Beautiful, Empress, beautiful.
Elijah knew he was a Moor. Every so-called black sect that you will come out to think right now stem out of the Moor Science Temple of America. Do due to the actions of Noble Drew Ali, period. People really have to understand. Maybe they don't get what they mean by the difference between a nation and an organization. Think about Walmart. Walmart is an organization. It's a company. You see what I'm saying? Nation of Gods and Earth is the same. Nation of Islam is the same. It is a corporation. It is not a body politic that you can motion and actually enforce law and change to that degree. You have people like the Nation of Islam who may enforce through the organization known as Nation of Gods of Islam certain policies or whatever the case is, but the formation themselves, it is not a nation. It is not a nation. It is filed. It is filed as a corporation, and people got to understand and be able to distinguish the difference.
That's why we the Moors stand or squarely affirm upon the oaths of the 5 points of light, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So if anyone can tell me any one of these so-called organizations that stands on those points and actually enforce those points, then, they could show me something different. But through my knowledge and journey, I have not seen that other than in my nation, the Moor. So let's take these 2 messages from our brother Anonymous One, and then we can get back to the conversation with the platform. Peace and love to your brother.
The brother in the middle, at the end of the day, I never called the Moorish Americans organization. Now, I call the other ones an organization. I'm very familiar with the Moor Science Temple of America, have been since the mid-'80s. So that's one thing. Number 2, regardless of what you are, if you're melanated in this country, I look beyond small doctrinal differences. And coming from New York City, we've already done this. Now, I realize you're always going to have individuals who are immature, who operate from their lower self, right? And, I just overlook them individuals. But this is not a theory or idea. I'm just talking. I just shared it with you all. Because even though I'm not Mo, if you needed help, you would get it from me, because we still. And then let me say this to you, brother. Again, I've been doing this for many years, as far as sitting down talking to individuals who operate from their higher self, from the Moor Science Temple of America, those who are a part of the Black Liberation Army, the Black Panther Party. One of my unique abilities is to find the commonality and connect with wise brothers that see what I'm talking about. I get what you're talking about. Trust me. But nothing happens overnight. But listen, even the late Prophet Noble Drew Ali collaborated with Marcus Garvey on a many of days, on a many of opportunities. Like I said, coming up in New York City, man, a lot of what cats are learning now, I knew this back when I was a little boy. Because, that was the culture and still is.
Peace and love, your brother Anonymous One. Give thanks for your interjection, as you say right here to So we give thanks for your messages here. But Kudjo, I don't know how long you left. I don't know if you heard the message that the brother left.
Yeah, I heard it.
All right, wonderful. I don't know if you want to interject there, but I give thanks. Peace and love.
Well, from the perspective that the idea of unity, unifying, it's only going to happen under nationality. We could play all the games that we want, and all these different groups coming together to stand in front of the Moroccan flag and put the black fist up and all that stuff and say that we're unified. That's not unity. That's some BS. And which is why we haven't gotten anywhere. Which is why when we look at the conditions of our people, conditions still suck. But then you could look at Japan, who got a nuke dropped on them, that they're good right now. And then you look at the Jews, who they made up a nationality, and they're ruling the world. They're ruling entertainment, they're ruling finance, they're ruling everything else with a fake nationality. So, I hear you. Anybody could say unity and we all come together and meet somewhere and take some pictures. Anybody could do that. What I'm saying is no other nations are doing that. When the Sri Lankans were protesting stuff going on in their country, right? When the Sri Lankans were protesting stuff in their country, here in so-called Canada, they shut down one of the main highways. And when they went to shut down the main highway, because they were protesting atrocities going on in their countries, everybody had one flag, everybody had on their turban. There wasn't 50 different flags flying and all that stuff. So, you know what I mean? When I look at our people and I'm saying, okay, well, unity amongst our people, and then everybody's bringing their version of what they think their nation is, and then nobody else is doing that, and then they're getting more results than we're getting with our 50 flags, obviously we're the problem, not other people. Obviously we're the problem. And what is our problem? Our problem is that we keep following after these traders who sold out Noble Drew Ali. Elijah Muhammad sold out Noble Drew Ali. Fard Muhammad sold out Noble Drew Ali. Right? All these black preacher whoever sold out Noble Drew Ali. All these Freemasonic Prince Hall, Scottish Rite whoever's, all them sold out Noble Drew Ali. Boule sold out Noble Drew Ali. And then they're going to mention his name in 2021 in some, oh yeah, we give honors to him. He's the forerunner of us. No, he's not. No, he's not. Noble Drew Ali is not the forerunner of any of these people. He's in his own lane, and he needs his honors. And until he gets his honors, all these people talking about him and bringing up that they are whatever, they are who they say they are, but they're not Moors, or even like yourself. I know that I'm a Moor. We've been doing this since the 80s. So then where's your Ellen Bay and all that stuff at? Where's your Fez? Where's your nationality card? If you don't have it, then don't talk about your Moors and all that stuff. That's placation. And we don't do placation. That's traitorous activity when you placate with Moors. Because if you're a Moor, you should have a nationality card, identification or whatever saying that you're a Moor. You're not going to tell me you're a Moor because we're black people so we're all Moors. Or, I know something. I know something about the Moors so that means that I'm a Moor. That's a fiction. That's not a reality. If you're a Moor, you're going to be that. And if you're not being that, then you're not that. I yield.
Rise up, brother Kudjo. Know the answer to the brother question. I know if you want to shed some light on anything there, brother Sheldon, peace and love to you. Brother Sheldon, are you there? I think he's a bit okay.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here. I'm just listening in. I'm making some food right now. That's why I've been on mute. making some pancakes.
Going in.
So brother Sheldon, what to do before we close the show? I don't know if you want to get into that, but one thing I want to do on this recording, a question was raised, Brother Kudjo don't want to answer, but I know you can go to the books. Brother asked on the show last strong, who are the Moors? What does Moor mean? So if you can find a meaning for me, and you could do that recording, you don't have to do it straight away before, because we got about 25 minutes for the show close up, and we could put this on the record.
Okay, so hold on a second. So you're saying somebody asked you what does Moor mean?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna go into that again because I've said it so many times. I'm just gonna point them to the books for them to do the research, because after that Mushrock episode, I'm just like, I'm done. So this is what whoever wants to know what Moor means. Get the hieroglyphics dictionary. The Egyptian hieroglyphics dictionary by E.A. Wallace Budge, Volume 1. I was actually on Amazon and I saw Volume 2 there, but Volume 1, the last I checked, I think it was over 100 euros, but whatever. Get the Egyptian hieroglyphics dictionary by E.A. Wallace Budge, and in there it tells you the meaning of Moor. And there it's spelled M-A-U-R. Then you the meaning. It'll say MAUR. That's the meaning of it. And then do research on what it says the meaning is. Everything that you see in there, do research on that, and it'll lead you down a path, and it'll give you the meaning. That's all I'm saying.
Peace and love, brother. Give thanks.
And there's more books and actually once you go down that rabbit hole and it tells you what it means, then get yourself and look it up more there and connect the dots between what